Welcome, everyone, to the $68 Speaker Shootout. I'm your host, Grant, with Grant and Tech. And today we have 3 sets of speakers, all of which were $68 on Amazon. As of time of recording, they're all no longer $68. I'll have to check the ELACs, but last I checked, they were still $68. The Mookie MS ones are now their original MSRP of $69.99. And the Mookies are somewhere in the $70 range, but their MSRP is $89.99. So, first, I'll go over each of the speakers, just some basic specs, some basic overview, their model name, all that jazz. And then we'll get into my findings and results. I do have individual reviews of each of these speakers. You can find them on my channel. I'll also make a playlist, so that way they're easier to find, and I'll link the playlist on this video. I think that should be up there, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, we'll start from the left. We have the Mookie M20-3s. I don't have any notes. I'm just trying to do this off the top of my head. So Mookie M20-3s. It's a three-way driver or three-way speaker. It's got a 5-inch mid-range, 5-inch woofer down here, a 2-inch mid-range driver, and a 1-inch tweeter. And then we have the Mookie M20-1s. This one is also a 5-inch woofer, but it's a two-way design, 5-inch woofer, tweeter, and both these are front ported as well, as you can see. And then we have the ELAC 4-inch passive bookshelf speakers. Model number is BS41-BK. These have a 4-inch woofer and a 1-inch tweeter, and these are rear ported. So I know I only have 3 speakers up here, but each of these also have a pair with them, so you do get 2 speakers whenever you buy them. In terms of other things, these Mookies have on the back to connect to your speaker wire. They just have regular binding posts. You push down, put the wire in, let go, and easy peasy, done. You couldn't be happier with that. Love it. Love the simplicity. Especially at this price range, you don't need anything fancy. Speaking of, the ELACs here have what appear to be, I believe you can put banana plugs in these, but they're also twist on, twist off, and they're insanely hard to grip. The opening isn't very big, so your fingers don't fit well. I don't have big fingers by any means, but these twist on, twist offs, they're not anything bad, but they're not great. I don't like them that much. They're kind of really tight and hard to undo at first. I didn't even know that they were twist offs. It took me quite a while to fiddling around and just trying to figure out what was going on there. So not a big fan of those. I don't use banana terminals for my test bench just to make it easier. It's more universally acceptable to just use bare speaker wire. Most speakers will be able to be hooked up that way, either through one of these twist styles or a clip style. So I didn't fuss around with that, but if you have bananas, this would probably be pretty easy to get into, though it is at a weird angle. Anyway, on to thoughts about these speakers. If you don't want to watch the full video and don't want my full thoughts, that's cool. I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. First off, I will say that there will be Amazon affiliate links to all these speakers in the description. If you do click on that link and buy one of these, I will get some kickback. So just full disclosure, they are Amazon affiliate links. And I'll also go over some other stuff later. But anyway, if you want to know what to buy and what not to buy this at $68. If it's $149, which is this MSRP, that's fine too. This is a great speaker. These, maybe buy them. I had really bad quality control issues. This is my second set. I'm also returning these. I'm not getting replacements. I'm just getting my money back because I don't want to deal with it anymore. But they don't sound bad. These actually sound pretty good, unless you get a defective unit, like I believe I have twice in a row. There's some screeching coming from the right tweeter at certain frequencies, and it's annoying. Unlistenable, honestly. Quality control on these is really bad. This one has a kind of pushed in tweeter. You can see it in my review of these, and some peeling up vinyl already. And these are out of the box for maybe 2 hours at this point. Last place, these Mookie M20-3s. They sound kind of bad. Just not a good sound. Not worth the price difference over these at all. Actually, I think these sound worse than the M20-1s. I think they just put in another driver. Hope people would think that's pretty cool. Also, the mid-range driver on the speaker is not the same as what is advertised on the Amazon page or in any of the materials that I found about the speaker. I also don't really like the front port design of this one. It pushes out a lot of air. If you don't sit too far away from the speaker, it is annoying. Same with these, but to a lesser extent. These feel more well built overall. These don't. I'm not even sure if there's a crossover in here. I'm not sure if there is in this one either. But this is more egregious because it has 3 drivers. So I do not recommend these at all in any way, shape, or form. Don't buy these speakers. They're just not good. And quality control is really bad on them as well. There's glue that you can see around the woofer. So if you don't like using the grills like I do, I don't like having grills on my speakers. I prefer just have the bare look, unless the grills have some kind of waveguide on them, then I'd use it. But otherwise, I don't like grills. And there's probably going to be some imperfections in the speaker that you're not going to want to look at. Same with these. These are not as bad as the first pair that I got. The first pair, I don't even think they were new, even though I ordered them new. So there's that. These, fantastic build quality, look great without the grill on, look good with the grill on too. Actually, wouldn't mind having the grill on these. They're actually pretty classy looking. This is also so these have a 4-inch driver. These both have woofer. I'll say woofer. These are both 5-inch woofers, but these are both smaller cabinets and much, much lighter. This is a much, much heavier speaker than those two. It's probably about like 8 to 10 pounds. I think it's 8 pounds is what it is, somewhere around there, give or take a few ounces. But these are a much better design. I'm sure whenever I turned around the speaker, you could see the magnet on the tweeter is giant. And the port on it's much bigger than these two speakers, and it's flared as well. Gives it some good deep bass. Overall, I really don't want to talk about these speakers. This just falls flat in every regard. Cannot recommend you not to buy this enough, but there will be a link in case you want to for some reason. Maybe you just hate sound. These would maybe be best for background listening. They're actually really not that bad. So if you're not actively listening in any capacity, these are actually not that bad, especially if they're on sale for $68 and nothing else is on sale, and you really just need a pair of speakers. This would be good in like a garage where you're not listening actively, or just like, I don't know, any non-active listening scenario. If you're listening actively, these are bad. These I can't comment on too much because I only used them for maybe 8 minutes total because I couldn't get past the screeching in the tweeter. But if you get one that doesn't have the screeching in the tweeter, these would probably actually be pretty good. Because it didn't screech on every song that I listened to. It just screeched on one specific one, and I couldn't get past it. So, and I didn't want to listen to it anymore. So these are actually not too bad. There's definitely some false marketing with the frequency response. This is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That's not true. There's no way. It doesn't go down to 20 hertz. Maybe if you're like negative 18 dB, possibly. But it's not realistic. And also on the box for these, the frequency response, they stated as 60 hertz to 15 kilohertz. And 15, I mean, you're kind of splitting hairs. Above 15, you're not going to hear too much, and I don't think many recordings would really have 15 to 20 kilohertz. I am probably mistaken, but the threshold for human hearing goes up to 20 kilohertz. So having these fall off at 15 is kind of really disappointing. None of these speakers at all have an RMS figure for the wattage. They just give you max. These are 55 watt max, 50 watt max, 50 watt max. But the power range for these two is 20 to 50. I'd also give you like 20 to 50 is probably good for this as well. None of these speakers are particularly hard to push, even though they are kind of higher sensitivity. This one's 81 dB, 86. I believe this is 84. But I have a 50 watt Denon DRA 297 receiver hooked up to a ProZar DAC, plugged into my TV, which is plugged into my computer that has all of my music on it, and Spotify. Full disclosure, I use my actual high quality music files very minimally. I usually just listen to Spotify because I usually just listen to my music at work, and I don't feel like digging through my music library when I can just search through Spotify a lot easier, and I pay for it. So I'm not always listening to the highest quality of files, just like most normal people. But so yeah, these bad sound overall, not full, but not hollow, just not good. The sound actually was pretty good for the one song that I did like and listen to, and then the second one, it was bad. Imaging on both these is really bad. Can't even sugarcoat that. It's not good. Imaging on this is passable. I wouldn't call it great in any regard, but it is definitely okay. It's not anywhere near as egregious as these two. These are inaccurate. Imaging inaccurate. Not even near what it's supposed to be. This acceptable. Things are placed in the general vicinity of where they're supposed to be. Not exact, but at least they're where they're kind of supposed to be. Bass response. These two, actually not that bad. This one feels, so whenever you listen to a bass guitar, this one feels faker than this one. This one sounds a bit more realistic. This one is close to realistic, but not quite there. But for like not actual bass guitar, if you're just like bass drum hits, this is punchy as hell. This will hit you in the face. Love it. They're moderately punchy, not the best, but not horrible. Double bass in the song "The Patient" by Tool at the 3:35 mark. Double bass kicks in. This is a common test that I do on all my speakers. It's just testing to see if the double bass muddies up the sound. On this one, yes, it does. It completely destroys the sound. It is painful to listen to how much it just completely destroys and distorts every waveform coming out of the speaker. It is awful to listen to that song on here. Didn't even get to it on this one because I only listened to 2 songs. On this one, it's on the threshold of being bad, but it's not there. It actually doesn't sound terrible listening to that song on here. The double bass is clear, and you can still hear other instruments going on at the same time, but it's not the best. There's definitely better speakers that have done that song much more justice. I think the main issue is that these woofers actually have a lot of flex to them. Not flex, excursion. They go out a lot, and I don't think they really spring back that fast, or maybe I just need to break this one in more. These two, just terrible with double bass. In terms of bass for like rap songs, in terms of just that deep bass, just bass notes, these they were okay. Actually wasn't too bad. Didn't mind it. Couldn't even tell you. And great, phenomenal. This has big bass, especially for a 4-inch. This goes deep. I believe they rate them down to 48 hertz, but I did a frequency response test on these, and I could audibly hear it pretty well at 46 hertz. These have good bass. I did have them pretty close to the wall. I had them 9 inches from the port to the wall. They recommend 1 to 2 feet from the wall, but it doesn't specify from the rear or from the front. So from the front, I was about 1.5 feet from the wall, like a little bit under 1.5 feet. So no, I was actually like right at 1.5 feet. These are 9 inches deep. So I may or may not have been in the optimal zone for them. but they sounded great. I loved how much bass they had. If you're in a smaller room, you do not need a subwoofer with these. I do have a subwoofer in my office, but I never used it with these speakers. Well, I used it once with these speakers, but definitely don't need a subwoofer in a smaller room with these. I didn't test any of these in a bigger room. I just tested them all in my office. It's a 9-foot by 10-foot office. The speakers are 9 inches from the wall, from the rear, and they're slightly elevated to where the tweeters should be at my ear level on some stands. They're whatever sound treated stands. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So yeah. So for bass response, first place, second place, couldn't tell you. But bass guitar sounded pretty good on this. So I'm actually gonna put this as first, second, third, just from one song. I don't even know what this one sounds like in more songs, but it definitely, in that 1.5 songs that I listened to, this sounded better than this. I would not recommend this over this in any way. Unless you want better quality control. I think these have a little bit better quality control, even though they're still pretty bad, because I also had to return these, and this is my second set, and these are actually acceptable in terms of quality, and these are still not acceptable. Mid-range, all three of them pretty good. Nothing to complain about. These, if you listen to Alice in Chains live, MTV Unplugged live, whatever, great album. You can hear the vibration in the guitar strings pretty well on these. You can hear them pretty well on these, and you can hear them pretty well on these. These are probably the worst out of the three in terms of that, but you definitely get some good mids out of all of these. I wouldn't recommend any of these over any of the others if you're strictly looking for mids, but you shouldn't, because you should be looking at the whole spectrum. Highs, these are good. They're a little veiled. They're not great, but they're definitely acceptable. I usually look for highs in music. I love a good cymbal crash. These are okay. It's not bad. It's acceptable in every way, shape, and form. But if you like a brighter speaker, this is not it. It's a little bit darker and veiled on the high end. These bad, mainly because it screeches whenever there's female vocals in songs, and that's just unacceptable in every way, shape, and form. And on these, it's all right. Again, kind of like the Elax, these are a little veiled, not bright. I do like more of a brighter speaker, but these are not that for sure. They're not very detailed on the high end either. These are a little bit more detailed on the high end. I would definitely recommend these over the Mookies for high end. So in terms of lows, mids, and highs, this is the clear winner in all three categories, and these swap off. These for bass, probably these for mids as well. There's more vibration in the strings from what I heard. Again, like, I don't have much experience with these speakers because I just could not listen to them on the high ends, because the highs on these are atrocious. These are good. These are great. But, well, not great. They're good. They're acceptable. Frequency response on all of these are definitely emphasized on bass, probably neutral in the mids, and a little recessed on highs. These I really couldn't tell you, but it's probably flatter than the Elax, to be honest. They're not very emphasized in the bass, maybe slightly. Everything else seemed more neutral. These are probably also a little emphasized in the bass response, with everything else being pretty neutral, maybe a little bit recessed in highs. I don't have any data to back any of this up. This is just what I've been hearing with my ears. If you want more in-depth like frequency responses on these, I know Joe and Tell has a video on these. I'm not sure about these, but he does have frequency response graphs in his videos, and they're very informative, and I'd highly recommend them. Imaging, I think I already went over, but I'll just do it again just for continuity's sake. Acceptable, bad, atrocious, unacceptable in every way, shape, and form. Soundstage, I don't really do much with sound staging because I sit 4 feet away from these speakers, so the soundstage is it should be good anyway. I have all my speakers just flat I don't tell them in any way when I'm doing my reviewing. I think that's more for how you want to set up your speakers, and it depends on your setup. So I'm not going to go into that at all. So for $68, what do I recommend? I recommend the Elax wholeheartedly. These are actually a great speaker. I used to have, well, I still do have my Sony SSCS5s that are in my office that are my usual daily drivers, but I think I'll be replacing them with these. These are actually really fun to listen to, even in the background, critically. They're just a really fun speaker. I love how they sound. For every genre. I listened to so much music on these. I hooked them up the first day. I did maybe a few minutes of critical listening, and then I just listened to them. I enjoyed these speakers so much. These I wouldn't recommend at $68, and I wouldn't recommend them at their MSRP of $69. Oh, speaking of MSRP on this one's $149. Still recommended at that price point. I prefer these over my Sonys. My Sonys are, well, the MSRP is $168. I got them for $88. But I think I'd buy these for $149 as well. It's just a really good speaker, a really fun speaker. I wouldn't say good. It's not accurate. It's not a flat response either. Audiophiles probably crying everywhere with me recommending these as a good speaker, because if you want a flat frequency response, this is not it. If you want something fun to listen to, this is it. I recommend this. If you're just listening on Spotify, you're going through your liked music, especially if you listen to a lot of pop. Oh my God, pop sounds amazing on this. I am not the biggest pop fan, but man, every pop song I listened to on this was just incredible. I loved it so much. Actually, pop sounds really good on these as well. The Mookie M20-3s, they were good. They're actually really good for pop music. I would still recommend the Elax over them, but definitely better in some regards. Not better in some regards. Better than these in some regards. I didn't even listen to pop music on these, so I can't even comment on that. But these are more hollow. These are fuller sounding. These defective. Twice in a row. So, 68. Don't recommend. 69, don't recommend. I got these for 68, and I would recommend it only if you're on a tight budget and the Elax are not on sale and the Sony SSCS5s are not on sale. The Sonys are usually on sale for $88 or less, down to at least $75. These don't really have much price data on these. Even whenever I bought them on Amazon, they had 8 or 9 reviews on Amazon, and they were $68 on sale for like 45% off or something like that. Because no, even more, 55% off. Honestly, if these were just MSRP of $68 and just kept selling them at that price, I think that they would sell a buttload of speakers if people knew about them. Because these are more fun than most speakers I've listened to. I really enjoy these a whole hell of a lot. I hope people buy these and enjoy them. And I hope people don't buy these, because they would not enjoy them as much as they would enjoy this. So these MSRP is $89.99, I believe. Wouldn't buy them at that either. $68 wouldn't be bad. It's not a ripoff or anything, but not recommended still. So yeah, if you got $68 to spend, buy these. If you can stretch your budget a little bit more and you like an accurate listening experience over a fun one, or if you want to get into the audiophile world and just want a starting point, new challenge we're approaching: Sony SSCS5s. These are usually on sale for $88, often down to $75. MSRP is $168, but I wouldn't spend that on these because these are on sale at least like once a month from what I've seen, maybe once every other month. These are insanely accurate for their price. They are a great deal. You can find so many reviews on these on YouTube just because people have been singing their praises and other people want to find out why, and it's usually audiophiles, and they all recommend these as a great beginner speaker. Like best speaker under 200, best speaker under 100. And I would have to agree. If you really want to get into listening to a flat frequency response and don't have a big budget to get something that's, I don't know, just hundreds and hundreds of dollars, this is worth it. This has a 5.12 inch woofer, a 0.98 inch tweeter, and a 0.75 inch super tweeter. I'm not sure if the super tweeter is doing much, and the frequency response needs like 53 hertz to like 30 something thousand kilohertz. Realistically 20 kilohertz, because you're not really going to hear much above that. They're rear ported. Honestly, the ELEC's probably better build quality than this. This is just like kind of cheap materials, but it's built well at least, and they sound great, so it doesn't really matter. They look good with the grills off, as you can see, and the grills on them also look pretty good in case you want to keep those on. I just personally don't. They also have a twist style post, but there's no depression like the ELECs. I'm gonna just try to illustrate this a bit better. Rear ported, and you've got these posts, which are pretty easy to use because they don't restrict your fingers in any way because they're just completely open. So this isn't bad. I think there's a way for them to accept bananas as well, but I don't care about that. So I don't know if they do or not, but I'm pretty sure they do. So if you can stretch your budget a little bit more and you want more of an audiophile experience, this is the way to go. If all of these are at MSRP, and nothing else is on sale for whatever reason, hate to recommend these, but these would probably be what you'd want if you can't spend over $100, because these are over $100 MSRP. But I can't recommend that. I recommend you maybe save for another month or just wait for a sale and just get one of these instead. If you want to have a fun speaker to listen to all the time at your desk, you're just in an office and you just like having fun when you listen to music, this is it. If you want to do critical thinking, this is it. This isn't a $68 speaker. I'm just bringing it in because I think it deserves to be recognized for how it is, especially since it's usually on sale for $88 to $75. So you can spend another $20, go to Taco Bell 4 or less times, you know. It's worth the stretch, but these will be replacing these for me in my office personally, unless I'm doing some critical listening, because these are just so fun to listen to. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that covers all my bases. If you made it to the end, thank you. There will be an Amazon affiliate link for all 4 of these speakers in the description, actually. So if you didn't watch this far, you're probably wondering why there's a link for a Sony speaker. Just watch the whole video, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, as stated earlier, I am Grant with Tech and Grant, signing off on my first speaker shootout. Thank you for watching.